here's a little tip that you have to plan ahead for. We've got our exterior sheathing already cut at the new height of our rough sill. On the interior, we're cutting the drywall down 1.5 inches lower than we cut the sheathing on the exterior. The reason for this is it allows us to cut our studs, place our new sill in place without doing any extra work on the exterior, and easily covered by trim on the interior. So a little bit of planning to know the width of your trim, and you don't have to worry about any drywall repair on the interior, and you don't have to put a little patch of sheathing on the exterior. There's going to be some people out there that are going to say that using a track saw on site diminishes our skills as a carpenter, and I would argue that it doesn't. It's a tool that's available to us. For decades before I had a track saw, I would clamp a straight edge down and run a saw against it if I needed a nice cut. This does it with less steps more efficiently. Am I always going to use a track saw? No, it doesn't always make sense to use a track saw. But if you have one available to you, definitely use it. And this is an extremely versatile saw. I can use it with a track or without, and it is just, it's been a game changer for us with R9 Zip. We're able to make our cuts a little more accurately, a little more tightly, and R9 Zip is expensive, right? So we want to utilize as much of it as possible. Anytime we have a cut that doesn't fit correctly, we've got to get out can foam, try and dress up the joint, or deal with some other type of extra tape mishap. So being able to make smooth, accurate cuts just makes our life a little better, a little easier. Roll the tape, folks. We need this piece of tape here because it is going to bring our air control layer, which is our R9 Zip, from outboard to inboard of this opening. By wrapping that around, we ensure continuity. When we place the window in this hole and we air seal the back side of this window, we just gain control. We gain control over how air moves around this window. Ideally, if you have total control over how air moves, the only way it's going to enter this building is through some type of mechanical system. But the window that was here previously, we know the air was filtering around the window through, well, little bits of fiberglass insulation. We don't want to breathe air that's been filtered through fiberglass. We want to breathe air that's been filtered through an actual air filter that will actually purify the air, clean the air. So the tighter we can make this building, the more control we gain over our shelter. And that is the whole point of building shelter, is to gain control of our environment. Window this size, we install 3 of these horseshoe shims. Kind of excited today because we actually have realistic size shims. We got these forever ago, and well, as you can see the difference. So I'd put them in and they would stick way out, and while it made them very inspectable, it was kind of a waste of materials, but we had to burn them up because once you have them, you have to use them. But now we have something that's a little bit more appropriate in size. So that 16th inch shim just ensures that we never have any type of heat weld over time between the vinyl window and the actual flashing tape. And we always have that positive drainage gap. So there'll always be that 16th inch gap that will allow any water that ends up getting in the sill when this window leaks to drain out.
There's definitely more than one way to do the tape. I like to start at one side and work my way to the other, where Aaron likes to start in the middle and work from the middle out towards the edge. I lied, I could do it one go.
And you are now officially a
tape ninja.
Did the new guy help at all?
He did, he helped. He kept me calm.
There you go. And what's the secret?
Be patient and don't freak out.
All right, there you have it, folks. That's the secret to One piece sill flashings. All right, reframed, installed, reframed, installed, reframed. That's a tomorrow problem. All sorted out and installed. Not a total reframe, but we had some work to do. Either way, not perfect, but we'll take it. We're putting the siding on. We're staying away from the windows because the windows are not part of our scope. Somebody else is taking care of that. But before we secure our zip sheathing to the concrete with some Fentrum, we want to just give it a light scrub. We just want to make sure there's nothing loose there that would prevent the Fentrum from bonding. And the reason we want to go ahead and ensure that the Fentrum actually makes a connection from the zip to the foundation is 30% of air leakage in your average home can be found in the sill rim joist area. So any of your box joist, rim joist, wherever the concrete meets the framing, that quite often is very leaky. I didn't make those numbers up. You can find those on the NRC website. It's been a fact since the 70s and it hasn't changed. So we make that connection with Fentrum and we're going to reduce the air leakage at this point. So we'll go ahead and get this scrubbed up and then we'll get some Fentrum on. Split release paper. We've already got a line snapped. We predetermined where we wanted the Fentrum to sit. We want to have at least 1 inch on the concrete to make a nice bond. And having a 3/4 inch lap here is just the perfect way to do that. I just like to roll out a section, line it up, pull my tape. If I'm a little over the line, it's no big deal. It's when I'm a little under the line that we may not have proper adhesion. Make sure it's adhered to the zip. And just use my fingers to roll that in. And of course, I'm gonna hit that with the squeegee too. That's why working in sections is kind of nice. You don't have to get up and down, up and down, up and down. And again, got more release paper to come off. Oh. Just work that in towards the foundation. All right, got another spot done. All right, we haven't had a lot of time between weather and just trying to get this project done. We're on a quite tight timeline on this to do really any good videos about the zip system from Huber Woods. Now we've got R9 zip on this project. One of the tips everybody should know about when you're working with the insulated R sheathing from Huber Woods is orientate the panels all in the same direction. Now, if you noticed insulated R sheathing, you move up, insulated R sheathing, 30 is upside down here, 30 is upside down there. We've got all of the panels going on in the same direction. We find that they fit together nicer. The polyiso insulation on the back just sits together nicer and it's just a much cleaner fit. If you start flipping stuff around and putting it on the wall haphazardly, quite often you end up with a lot of open joints and it's just a lot of extra work to detail those. Now, we've got our zip system completed. We didn't get a chance to show any of it on the gable end because we had weather coming in and we just had to get that sheeted. So we've moved on to siding and getting a start on some soffit. Gonna get some siding on the wall. We're getting some of our mechanicals detailed. We've got a dryer vent on already, and we're making a prep for a future ERV. Now, we already know that we're right around 4 air changes an hour, and we've gone ahead and detailed the sill. So essentially where the framing meets the foundation, and we're hoping that's going to see about a 30% reduction in our air changes. It may not be, but if we can get from 4 to under 3, that is going to be a huge win for this house. All right, let's get some siding done, folks.